Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. The rising cost of living, fueled largely by unabated inflation, has rendered a wage hike more necessary than ever. The recent salary increases have been too small to allow workers to cope with soaring prices. At the House of Representatives, lawmakers believe a 200 peso across the board daily wage increase will help, but employers say this would only raise prices of goods and unemployment further. They add small businesses will be most affected. Even the president says this proposal needs further study. Let's get on point with Sergio Ortiz Luis, president of the Employers Confederation of the Philippines, and Gabriela Party List Representative Arlene Brosas, co-author of the 200 peso across the board daily wage increase act. Congresswoman Brosas joins us via Zoom. Good evening to you both. I'm going to start with Congresswoman Brosas. Ma'am, first of all, this was passed at the House Labor Committee a couple of days ago. What is the status of the bill now?
Yes, actually it passed on second reading na last night. Ito po ay ibig sabihin tapos na yung sponsorship and debate. So, we are waiting for the third reading sana nito, and baka hindi po yun mangyari dahil kinakailangan na may 3 days, no? 3-day rule natin for the third reading. Ngayon, kung ito po ay i-certify ng Pangulo, maaaring anytime soon, kahit ngayon, kahit bukas, ay pwede nating i-third reading. Kumbaga, ipapasa ng Kongreso for final reading last yan. But let me correct, Pinky, kasi yung pumasang House Bill, yung pinapakita nyo po ay yan yung, that's the original version, that's the first version, parang ganyan. Nagkaroon kasi ng substitution bill after nyan.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, yung substitution bill, it is not across the board, it is only for minimum wage earners. So, we would have wanted na across the board. But then,
Okay.
ang pumasa for second reading ay for minimum wage earners only.
Right. So, Congresswoman, ito po yung substitute bill that's supposed to be unnumbered. Tama po?
Yes, but then that's the one that passed. So, yun
Yes.
yung official niyang document.
Okay. Kasi I think there were at least three bills that were pending, and then there was a substitute bill. They said it was unnumbered nga daw po. And then ito na po yung lumabas. So for clarity, it's 200 pesos for minimum wage earners.
Yes, oo. Actually, kinonsolidate yung 3 bills. One of our bill ay yung 700, kung maaalala natin, yung national minimum wage at saka yung 750 pesos across the board. Yun yung isa sa mga kinonsolidate, 150, saka yung proposal for 200. Then, nung lumabas na sa committee, consolidated na siya, 200 pesos across the board. Now, nung nasa plenary, yung across the board tinanggal, for minimum wage earners na lang ngayon. So,
Alright.
yun yung clarification.
Okay. Congresswoman, I'll speak to Mr. Sergio Ortiz Luis here for his reaction to that. Just for, the latest report here is that these 3 bills, they were consolidated. I'm sure you know that, sir. And then it's still 200 pesos, but it's not across the board. Your reaction to that, sir, just for minimum wage earners?
Well, the reason we are talking against it is because we feel that something like this should be discussed thoroughly. And I think it was Congress who established the Regional Wage Board, where DEDA, DTI, DOLE, the workers and the employers are represented. And they do this every year, very carefully. From the time we started, we have the lowest minimum wage in the region. Now we are the highest. Because of this little by little increases. And the other thing that we are saying is that although they are not our members, no, out of the 52 more or less workers in the country,
You mean 52 million?
yeah, 52
Okay, yeah, that's our
million,
workforce. Okay.
only about 10 million or 10% is are minimum wage earners, which will be affected, but because of distortion, because of whatever, maybe it can reach up to 16%.
Okay.
The other 84% mostly are informal sector, mostly are, just to cite some of them, the farmers, wala naman employers. Hindi naman lalaki ang
Hindi sila maapektuhan po nito.
well, it's a benefit, no. Hindi naman dadaming ani nila because tinaasan yung 200 pesos. So, kala nila, yung fisher folks, hindi naman dadami yung huli nila. Pag tinaasan mo yung minimum wage, hindi sila kasali. Yung mga market vendors, yung mga military vendors sa kalye, yung mga tricycle drivers, jeepney drivers, yung mga small business owned by company that are run by them. 84%, unfortunately, yung mga kumpanyang apektado, what they will do is, this increase has nothing to do with their sales, their income. So what will they do? They will increase their price. Pag dalawa nag-increase their price, yung the other 98 companies will increase their price.
Will follow suit.
If they cannot, the market cannot tolerate an increase in price, they will just downsize their workers.
Or worse.
Worse is they close down. And out of these 16% who are affected will benefit enterprises, 90% are micro, 8% are medium, small, 1% is medium, less than 1% is large. Yun ang sinasabi natin, kaya-kaya niyan. Yun ang mga miyembro namin. Yung upper,
Okay.
ano.
I'm going to get Congresswoman Brosas to react to that. Ma'am, those are the numbers we're discussing right now. So if we're looking at a workforce again of 52 million, Mr. Sergio Ortiz Luis is saying here that ang magbe-benefit lang dito is at a minimum of 10%, which let's peg it at 5.2 million to 16%. I don't know ilan po yung 16% na 5.2, but maybe about 7 million, more or less. So let's peg it at 5 to 7 million lang daw yung makikinabang. In other words, it's a small percentage of the workforce. What do you say to that, ma'am?
Well, I beg to disagree, no, Pinky, kasi talaga namang marami sa mga manggagawa natin ang matutuwa kapag ito ay naipasa. Kahit magtanungan po tayo ngayon kung ilang mga manggagawa ang makikinabang nito, matutuwa po sila kasi sa totoo lang po, sabi nga niya, no, marami ang mga manggagawa, lalong-lalo na sa mga malalaking impresa. At nang nakaraan, kung maaalala po ninyo, marami na ang naibigay natin sa mga malalaking empresa na ito ng mga incentives like the create law, create more, 'di ba? And alam naman natin na may exception para doon sa mga maliliit na empresa talaga, katulad ng sinasabi na may 10 may 10 pababa na mga empleyado, Bambilo, etc. May mga ganun tayong mga exceptions. So parang sa tingin po natin, yung 200 pesos wage hike, makatarungan po ito. Hindi lang ito makatarungan, kulang pa nga. Gusto nating sabihin na as much na gusto sana natin na palakihin, hindi po nangyari yon. Pero we are arguing na sana mas mataas pa. At alam natin ang kinita ng top 1,000 corporations in the Philippines, may 7.2% siyang in-increase, merong 17.8 trillion noong 2023 na combined revenues. So, Pinky, sa tingin ko, dapat lang bigyan natin ang ating mga manggagawa ng panahon ngayon ng nararapat sa kanila, no? Yung 200 pesos lalong-lalo na binaba pa nga, hindi pa nga ATB across the board, 'di ba? Kundi minimum wage earners lang ang siyang makikinabang ngayon. Para sa amin napakaliit na porsyento lalo noon, ano? Pero bagamat ganito, yung lumalabas na narrative na maapektuhan yung mga maliliit, no? Or MSMEs, yan po yung inaalala eh. Sabi natin, dapat po talaga, no, hindi you should review your profit margin. Kung nakakapagtaas tayo ng presyo ng mga bilihin, mga produkto, sa tingin ko, it's about time na magtaas din naman talaga tayo ng sahod ng mga manggagawa.
How big of an effect would that be, sir, to if this is passed into law, 200 pesos for the minimum wage earners?
Well, fortunately, our inflation is going down. But imagine a company, yung micro lang pag-usapan natin. We're not even talking of the informal sector, the 84% who will not receive anything. We're just talking about those who are supposed to receive. Bigyan mo pa na exception. Sino pa matitira? Why are we even raising it? Kung i-exempt mo yung maliliit talaga.
I don't think anyone is exempted. Is anyone exempted in the bill, Congresswoman?
Yung exemption niya, yung Bambi Law, for example, yung mga 10 lang yung empleyado pababa, yung mga barangay, di ba? Yung mga ganong mga...
10 and below. Yeah.
Oo.
Okay. So 10 and below, yun po yung exemption.
Marami yun. That is why never succeed yung natin, yung BB, yung kay Congressman Teves no araw, yung exemption.
Yeah.
But the thing is, every year, ina-address natin yung minimum wage earners. We are leaving behind the 84% or the 90%. Ano? Why do we do that? Magandang pakinggan, makikinabang yung 10%. How about the 90%? Sama sila sa problema pag nagkaroon ng inflation. Why are we risking that? And why are we risking mawawalan po tayo ng employment?
But would that be a bigger problem, sir, obviously, if it was approved across the board?
It will be a bigger problem. Kasi pag across the board, pati yung vice president at presidente, sasama mo sa
Lahat po. Oo. Lahat po tayong manggagawa.
At
Ang
saka
pasok
yung
dito.
isang provision na I understand, I have not really heard whatever is passed, yung nationwide one salary only. Dapat pag-aralan yun. Alam mo, meron isang sinasabi na pare-pareho lang naman ang gastos, gano'n. Maybe so in some areas. But there is, I just read it nung historically kung bakit ginawa yan. The other reason is because we will not disperse investment to other regions. Walang incentive yung other regions. They will just concentrate on urban areas pagka ginawa mong pare-pareho lang ang sweldo.
Okay.
That is one reason. Kaya mahirap din sabihin mong isang sweldo lang yung mawawala na investment sa regions.
When we talk about the MSMEs, Congresswoman, Mr. Luis is saying that tatamaan din dito is the micro. If we talk about the micro, what is the percentage, sir? Kasi ang
90%.
90%.
Of
Micro lang
enterprises.
po ito,
Micro.
Wala pa yung SME. Nasa M lang
yung
tayo.
micro, just to share, micro is 90%.
90%.
Small is 8%. Medium is 1%. Large is less than 1%. Employment is in the micro, MSCV, 65%.
Employment.
Yes.
Okay, 65%.
So yun ang supposed
No, but
to be.
in the pie, sir, in its totality, di ba ang MSMEs po natin make up about 97% of the total?
99.5%.
99.5%.
99.4%. Yung tatagalin mo lang yung large Less than 1% yung large
I see.
And that's why it's very easy to say, naku, mababawasan lang ang kita ng mga malalaki. No? Maybe so, but they pay higher than this. Those people pay higher. Some of them, Christmas bonus, nagbibigay ng 16 months bonus.
But that's the operative sum.
Yeah.
Yun po yung...
Yung higher end nung small, yun ang mga members namin. Hindi namin members yung hindi namin members yung farmers. But who is speaking for them? Hindi sila organize
That's a point that needs to be raised, no, Congresswoman. Paano ho sila? Yung mga...
Yes, Pinky.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Pinky, hindi totoo na yung mga maapektuhan ay yung mga maliliit. Kasi mas marami talaga yung mga manggagawa sa mga malalaking empresa. At magkano ang sweldo nila, Pinky? Ang sweldo nila ay 645, di ba? Minimum wage. 645, ang idadagdag mo lang sa kanila ay 200. Anong sinasabi kong mga malalaking empresa? Kasama po dyan yung mga economic crossing zone areas. Libo-libo yung mga manggagawa dyan. Yan yung sinasabi natin, nadadagdagan mo yung kanilang sahod, di ba? So, hindi lang po yun, yung iba pang mga anong tawag dito, mga empresa o mga corporations na meron tayo sa ngayon. Kaya yan yung gusto natin na madagdagan yung sahod ng mga manggagawa na yan. Hindi ko makaintindihan kung bakit i-compete natin yung usapin ng mga magsasaka, ng mga mangingisda when they have their own din, di ba? Actually, sa agricultural workers, gusto din natin madagdagan yung sahod ng mga agricultural workers natin. Pinky, alam natin na bumabalik sa ekonomiya natin, sa bansa natin, yung mga sahod na yan kung dadagdagan man natin. Kasi ang mga manggagawa natin, they will pay for food. They will pay for sa mga necessary needs nila, sa mga batayang pangangailangan nila. At alam na alam natin kung ano ang economic situation natin ngayon, na mataas ang pagkain, bigas pa nga lang, napakalaki na, di ba? Tapos, pangalawa, yung kuryente, yung tubig, yan po yung mga basic utilities, no, na kinakailangan ng mga manggagawa. Sa sinasahod nila ngayon na 645, sumasapat ba yan? Kaya nga ang sabi namin, dapat nga 1,200 kasi yun yung ating sabi natin, sa ngayon ay nakasasapat na sahod o nakabubuhay na sahod ang ating pinag-uusapan.
Yun po ang kailangan din pag-usapan.
napakababa.
Minimum, yung pong sinasabing minimum wage at livable wage. We're gonna have more of our discussion with Mr. Sergio Ortiz Luis and Representative Arlene Brosas after the break. Please stay tuned. This is On Point.
Beauty, adventure.
I do agree with that. I would rather spend my money on travel.
We got you. Join Marie Lozano where she uncovers the untold stories and surprises in the world of lifestyle.
Let me get my geek on. That was so amazing.
The Lifestyle Lab on BNC, the Billionario News Channel.
Hello and welcome to Follow the Money. I'm Rain Musni. Join us as we explore the tools and insights you need to jumpstart your financial journey.
We empower.
This country deserves a real choice in the next election.
We motivate.
Do not invest money that you're not able to afford to lose.
Changes that are vital.
We're monitoring the sale of these products online.
Follow the money with Rain Musni.
Keep it here on the Billionaire News Channel. Always on top.
Welcome back. You're watching On Point. Still with us, ECO President Mr. Sergio Ortiz Luis and Gabriela, Representative Arlene Brosas. Balikan po natin itong legislated wage increase. I understand, Congresswoman, that the last wage increase legislated at that was in 1989. Am I correct?
Yes, it was in 1989 during Cory Aquino.
Okay. At ano ho ang magiging papel naman ng ating mga regional tripartite Wages and Productivity Board? Is it time to review? Pag-aralan ho ba ulit kung nagiging effective pa ho ba sila?
Yeah, actually, meron kaming ganong panawagan kasi we have two bills na pending talaga sa House of Representatives. It is the National Minimum Wage, yun po yung sinasabi ni kanina na pinangangambahan, no, ng isa pa nating guest. So, yun yung isa. At yung second, ito nga yung across the board. So, again, Pinky, yung tanong na ano yung magiging epekto dito sa mga regional tripartite. Actually, yung bill itself, mayroon pa siyang disagreeing provisions. So, it will have to go to BICAM.
Opo.
Bicameral. Ibig sabihin, mag-uusap pa ang Kongreso at Senado kasi nagpasa sila ng 100, di ba? So, 100 across the board ang kanilang pinasa. At yung sa amin ay 200 for minimum wage earners. We have to talk about it. At ano yung mga kailangan namin pag-usapan. At doon pag-uusapan, malamang ano ang magiging role ng mga regional tripartite wage.
Yun po yung actually
Yes,
something that I had discussed in previous interviews because I do recall it was then Senate President Mig Zubiri who was really pushing for this 100 peso I think it was across the board wage hike, or was
Yes.
it also minimum wage?
Minimum wage.
Minimum wage also. But then, di ho ba, Congresswoman, pumasa siya sa Senado, pero hindi po inaksyonan ng House of Reps?
No, ngayon yung aksyon. Kasi hindi pa naman tapos eh. Hanggat hindi natatapos yung merong aksyon yung Kongreso. And the action was the 200 for minimum wage earners right now.
Okay.
Nadagdag sahod.
Would it have been more acceptable, you think, or doable if it was 100 pesos?
Well, the same way today. Last year, when the Senate passed that,
think February last
they
year.
were asking the president to certify it. But what the president did, because all his advisors, all his economic managers have been saying hindi po pwede. So what did he say? He say, pag-aralan mabuti, let the regional wage board convene and this early discuss it. No? So nag-convene sila, nakalabas yung lahat ng regions na itaas.
How much was the increase? Was it
It was anywhere from, depende sa region, anywhere from 30 to 60,
pesos, no? Yeah.
60 pesos per
That's
day.
right. Pero, Congresswoman, sakaling, number one, if the president does not certify this as urgent, what happens? Because he said there's a 3-day rule from second reading. Ano po? You are also going on recess tomorrow, if I'm
Yes.
not mistaken. What happens to the bill?
Then it will be tackled on June 2, pagbalik ulit namin. So, ibig sabihin, parang tatagal pa, di ba? Sana kung ngayon ipasa, makakapag-bycam na kami during the break. And during the break, pwede naman yun talaga mangyari. So, after nun, saka yung third reading for, saka yung pagpasa into law by the, pagbalik na namin ng June 2 onwards.
After the
Kasi
elections.
meron pa kaming session. Oo.
Do you think this is going to happen?
I think so. If talagang gusto, and dapat talagang maging parang hindi ito dapat papogi lang. Hindi ito dapat parang election lang, 'di ba?
Do you feel?
Hindi natin gusto yung gusto natin mangyari talaga.
Sorry to interrupt you, ma'am, but do you feel this is what it is? Because parang bigla po na lang itong na-approve sa committee level.
Well, we are
And
pushing
unanimous
for
at that.
it. Oo, we are pushing for it. Medyo lang kasi, press for time kasi may election. Pero maganda rin tong moment na ito para makapag-decide yung mga tao, di ba? Kung sino iboboto nila para sa pagpili ng mga talagang magpupush nitong dagdag sahod para sa kanilang kapakanan ng mga manggagawa natin.
So balikan ko po yung sinabi niyo, Congresswoman. Baka naman po yung iba, baka, ay pogi points lang po ito dahil po sa eleksyon.
Or it shouldn't be, no? At malalaman natin kung sino-sino yung mga yon, di ba?
What about, siguro a quick reaction again from you, sir?
Well,
What happens if this is passed?
Actually, wala kami problema sa intent of the law. Unfortunately, sinasabi lang namin, mali yun the way we're addressing. Ang problema natin ngayon is job creation, jobs. No? And this law is not going to help that. It will be counterproductive to that. And the other thing that we have a problem with is sa investment. In spite of all the effort of the President to bring in investment to the Philippines now, kulela tayo sa region. They wish the last choice. Nalampasan na tayo ng iba sa region.
And why is that?
Well, when we accompany the President sometimes in the trips, ang una-unang sinasabi sa amin, mga bisita rito, delegation, napaka-erratic na laws dyan sa Pilipinas. We make plans, we make invest, and then pinapalitan nyo. No? The other thing that is usual, sabi nga ni Congresswoman, napakataas ng electricidad nyo. No? Maraming red tape. Ngayon may discussion pa about corruption na kanina meron kami delegation sa PCA. Yung San Diego mayor, together with a big delegation, we entertained them this afternoon. Yun ang isang tinatanong nila. How do you really fix this minimum wage? We understand there's a piling of, so maybe some of those who were intending to, merong mga gusto maglagay ng mga center, medical center. No? Mga Pilipino rin actually. Hintayin na lang natin na ma-resolve yan.
Okay. But 645 pesos minimum wage, is that livable?
Not. Pagka umasa yung family of 5 sa 645 pesos, mamamatay sa gutom. Because that is not intended to sustain a family of 5. Minimum wage is an entry-level wage. Do not mistake it for living wage. Iba ang definition ng living wage. Ang living wage, pag dalawa ang kumikita sa pamilya, sama yon. Pag yung mother, may mga sideline siya, nananahin, namamlansa, sama yon. Meron silang kaprasong bakuran, nag-aalaga ng mamoy, itik, manok,
May sari-sari store.
Sama yon. Yung assistance ng government, tsaka mga assistance sa ibang agencies in health, sama yon. Assistance ng government sa education, sama-sama lahat yun ang living wage. That is why walang namamatay ng gutom sa Pilipinas. Nakakasurvive. We agree, mahirap ang buhay dito, mas mataas ang sweldo natin sa minimum wage sa ibang bayan. Napakababa naman sa Thailand for instance ang bilihin. Napaka-subsidize sa elektrisidad nila.
But that's exactly the reason they're saying right now why this was being pushed, because of the increase in prices of basic commodities. That was obviously part of the bill.
If we can push to increase the 52 billion, ma-increase yun, that is a good bill. Pero i-increase mo a portion at the expense of the other portion, what did we do? We just create a disparity that is bigger and bigger. Alam mo, yung mga fishermen natin, hardly subsist, napaka-erratic na. The minimum wage earner are in a better position. I'm not saying that they're in the best, because they're regularly employed. Meron silang regular kita.
Okay.
Meron silang pwede. How about the 84%? Wala namang magtataas sa employer na kita nila. Paano na sila? Sama sila sa hirap, di sila kasama sa ginhawa.
Congresswoman, in the event that this does not make it, even after the break, even during resumption in June 2, and if the wage board again comes in and possibly increases by another 30 to 60 pesos, what happens next?
Well, we will still push for the dagdag sahod, yung taas ng sahod ng mga manggagawa. Kasi ang record naman po namin sa Makabayan ay talagang consistent kami sa pagpupush nito nung tinatawag nating nakabubuhay na sahod. Sa totoo lang po, marami sa atin, ay hindi totoo na walang namamatay sa gutom. Marami pong namamatay sa gutom sa atin, lalong-lalo na yung mga agricultural workers natin. In fact, mayroon po niyan sa Nueva Ecija, buong pamilya namatay dahil pinatay ng tatay ang kanyang mga anak dahil hindi niya mapakain. May mga ganyan po tayong kaso. Naintindihan ko po yun, overall po kailangan nating asikasuhin yung corruption, yung mga iba. Ang dami-daming problema ng Pilipinas and job creation na kinakailangan. Pero kinakailangan din nating magtaas ng sahod para sa ating mga manggagawa. Sabi nga natin, makatwiran, makatarungan lamang, may mga basis tayo kung bakit kailangan nating itaas ang sahod. At alam natin na yung mga Philippine workers' productivity tumaas ng 4.6% during the second quarter compared to the previous quarter. Ibig sabihin, merong batayan tayo kung bakit kailangan at necessary tayong magtaas ng sahod. At tingin natin, dapat lamang yung mga korporasyon maintindihan at manawaan nila na ang proposal na ito, hindi ito magtatanggal ng mga investments at hindi ito magkakaroon ng job losses at hindi ito magkakaroon ng economic downturn sa atin. Ito ay pawang mga panakot ng mga anti-workers. Sa totoo lang, kayang-kaya po yan i-push kung gagawin natin ngayon. And we will push that up until kahit matapos itong sesyon na ito ng 19th Congress. Maraming salamat.
Congresswoman Arlene Brosas, thank you so much for your time, and Mr. Sergio Ortiz Luis also.
Thank you.
Pleasure to have you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. That's On Point. Join us again tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching.